27?
27?
I think.
We'll go with it.
Alright.
Episode, yep. It's back to me and Kelvin. If you've been listening to recent episodes of either this or Squadcast, we've had a few new characters, but yep, back to the original duo.
Yeah.
Today we're doing something a little differently. We're gonna skip our main topic. We did have one planned, but we're skipping it because we haven't done a week in review in about a month. Yeah. So we're just going to talk about current events, basically. Still going to be airing of the grievances. We still will do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's how I was going to... No actual main topic today, just kind of seeing where it goes. So my grievance, if you don't mind, if I
go ahead.
Start, is with this guy named Dave Meltzer. I don't know if you know who that is, but for anybody who doesn't know what it is, he's like a really respected wrestling journalist.
Okay.
He was in the Andre Giant doc.
Okay.
For like a little bit.
I got you.
Yeah. And he's been around wrestling for like 30 plus years, and he knows everything about everything, and people like really respect him. However, but I don't like what he just did. He does this thing where he rates every match that he watches out of 5 stars. For the longest time, it was out of 5 stars. Right. Then last year, in the Japanese WWE, the NJPW is what it's called, 2 guys did a really great match, apparently. I don't watch the Japanese wrestling.
Yeah.
Apparently, it was really good, and he gave it 6 stars. He broke his own system. But it was the only match that got 6 stars, so I was like, alright, whatever. Those same 2 guys had a match about a month ago-ish, and he gave it 7 stars. So he's adding more stars to his already established system.
Right, exactly.
And what really got me was that he went on his like Twitter or his website or something and said, I can't believe people are getting upset about like 4.5 star matches. And I'm like, well, when you add 2 more stars to your already established scale,
right? Like that's not even like just yours. Like that's like a pretty established like scale in and of itself. Like 5 stars is like the end. Like, like no matter what it is.
Yeah,
like,
no matter how good it
games,
is, it's fine.
Anything,
yeah.
Like
so like I was just like I was going I'd give one match 6 stars. Okay, fine. If it was that good,
that impressive. Match, yes.
Which it could have been. Like I didn't see it. It's just all I hear about. Okay. But then to go back and criticize people for saying it's bad, like 4.5 out of 5 is a lot different than 4.5 out of 7.
Right.
You know,
right.
So it's
exactly.
like, where does your scale end? You know. And then one of my favorite things, there's this British wrestler, and he made a joke. He was like, "Well, what if his scale is really out of 10 and he just really hates wrestling this whole time?" That's I just. Just don't like. It's just so like just going back on yourself, you know. Like don't mess with something and then criticize people when they call you out on it. Just don't do that.
Right.
Or like adjust
because
for
you're
inflation.
the one who changed your entire like grading scale for these matches.
Yeah.
Like so you then can't get mad at people because you have now changed like. Your
every other match you've ever
because like it doesn't just like go off of like your more recent matches. Like fine, okay, those are great matches, but then like up into 7, like I'm fine if you go to 6.
Yeah,
okay, that's fine. It's still kind of weird whenever you're matching it, like whenever ranking another match of 4.5 out of 5, and then now all of a sudden it's like out of 6. So that means is that match not good at all? Like, I mean, because that dropped like a full like. Because now it's not close to perfect anymore. Are you upping that to 5.5 to adjust for the inflation of your now rankings of matches? I guess your amount of stars. So it doesn't make a lot of sense. It doesn't make any sense for you to then get mad at people for like calling you out for it because it's like
they're mad at like 4.5 star matches now.
Yeah, because like that was once thought as like. A near perfect match. And then you see 5 out of 5, I'm like, oh, well, that's a perfect match. Like, you can't then just go, like, above and beyond. Like, no, it's 5 out of 5. Like, that's what perfect is. Like, that's it. You've ended. Like, that's the end of the game. Congratulations, you've now found the perfect match.
Yeah. And apparently, like, there's a running joke that he favors Japanese wrestling over WWE.
Okay.
So, like, he always is willing to give those matches, like, 4.5, 5 stars. And he always gives WWE a little lower, like, 3.5, 4.
Okay.
I think he's only given, like, 11 matches since he's been doing this in, like, 30 years. 11 WWE matches got the perfect 5. Like,
yeah.
So, yeah, that's my grievance. Just don't.
I don't know what my grievance is this week. There's so much to be mad about that.
There was a lot.
Oh, NFL players. NFL players, Todd Gurley just came out this week and he said something along the lines of how it's not fair, how the NBA is getting all this money through their contracts and everything like that. Mm-hmm. And this, that, and like, I just want $80 million, then while they're getting $150 million. And I'm like, I understand. Like, I understand that you feel like you should get more money. And I agree. And I feel like I definitely agree that the NFL players should be getting paid more than NBA players. You put your body at a higher risk of injury or danger or long-term mental, like issues, mental or like just physical in general. And, you know, it's a more grueling, despite the fact that it's at the most 16, at the very least 16 games. Like, it's still very, very grueling.
Yeah.
So I definitely do agree with the fact that you should get more, that you should get paid more. But at the same time, like, and I know it wasn't his fault because he wasn't a part of the NFL when the last CBA, when the last like contract was adjusted and came through and everything like that. But at the same time, like, NFL players have nothing to be upset about but themselves. Like, they could have held out, they could have missed time, and they could have negotiated a better deal for themselves. And that's what the NBA players did. NBA players had a lockout a few years ago, like around the same time that the NFL did. And theirs lasted quarter of the season. So, like, and because they were serious about it. Like, they were serious, like, hey, we want this. We want to be able to make more money. We want fully guaranteed contracts. We know that the money's going to be coming in with the adjustment and the adding into like the television contracts and things like that. So we want the cap to go up, and they negotiated it to where the cap took a huge spike up, like for a couple years straight. So they negotiated that, and they took their time. They sat out the quarter of the season, and they negotiated a deal that they thought was fair for them, and that's why they have no grievances. And that's why I get mad when NFL players are like, oh, well, we don't have this, like, we don't have nearly as much money as, like, are getting paid nearly as much money as NBA players. I'm like, well, I mean, that's on you guys. Like, you guys, you gotta fight for it. Exactly. You guys folded last time. Like, you guys could have held out. You guys could have missed the time. Like, you guys could have missed the games, and you could have provided more leverage. Because there's one thing that the owners hate, and that's the fact that if their money is getting threatened because their players are refusing to play, then they're gonna find a way to make it happen to where they can negotiate something because they're understanding. I know it's a little bit different. I feel like the owners of the NBA are a little bit more forward thinking, or a little bit more. They're a little bit friendlier with their actual players.
Yeah,
you know, like fair. there's different things that have shown that over the years. Mm-hmm. Whether it's, you know, like just a few months ago where Sterling Brown, the guy who got arrested and tased, like it was like subject of police brutality who plays for the Milwaukee Bucks. Like, the Milwaukee Bucks actually sent out a statement towards the police department on team letterhead to like say like, hey, this doesn't go well with us. Like, like you guys, like we have a problem with this. Like, this is one of our players. You injured him. You assaulted him. And like there's just been so much more fluidity when it comes to like political issues and things like that. When in regards to like the NBA, I mean, a lot of coaches are a lot more forward thinking. I mean, look at Greg Popovich and Steve Kerr, or some of the big names. Stan Van Gundy when he was coaching, he was a bigger name.
It's crazy how Pop is still like with it.
Yeah,
he's his old veteran coach, and his ways are being like somewhat doubted with the resting and all that. But he's still like
retired Air Force guy too. Like, you know, like,
and he's still like on top of everything that's happening.
Right, exactly. Like, he's a very forward thinking coach. Yeah. Like on the court and off the court as well. Like, he's very forward thinking when it comes to like He was very forward thinking when it came to like getting a whole bunch of European players and getting them all over here, realizing that they can play. Because I think he was really a big asset into like bringing a lot more of the European players, because they all turned out to be really successful. Not just European, but like international players.
Yeah.
I mean, with Manu Ginobili, Tony Parker. I mean, they've done just to name those two guys, they've done a really good job with those two guys, just bringing on an influx of a lot more successful other international players that come to America and play in the NBA. So like he's always been very forward thinking, whether it's on the court or off the court too. So it's just I know it's frustrating for NFL, like for the players in the NFL to see the contracts that the NBA players are getting, or that like baseball players are getting. I mean, baseball doesn't have a cap, so there's no real limit on what their contracts can be. But like I said, I mean, this is how the NBA negotiated. This is how their play union were like. They were like, hey, we want it like this, and we're not going to back down until we get it, and we're prepared to miss games if like, and they did, and they knew it was a risk. They knew they were going to lose money in the short term, but they were thinking long term, and they were able to get contracts. That's why everybody's getting, even if you're the eighth man on the bench, the ninth, 10th, 11th man on the bench, you're still getting upwards of $15 million per year. And you're not sniffing that in the NFL. You're not even getting close unless you're a quarterback. And like I said, even like Kirk Cousins, who signed a fully guaranteed $84 million contract, it would be like, I think they said he'd be like 19th in the NBA off of guaranteed money.
Wow.
And he's like first in the NFL.
Yeah. So
like I said, this is what you negotiated for. Like this, like you can't be upset with the fact that you negotiated for less money. I mean, I understand it's tougher to distribute the money on that kind of a cap, given the fact that you have 53 players on the roster as opposed to 15 players on the roster. Is at the same time, you can negotiate a fair term, but you let the owners walk all over you. I mean, this is what they're going to continue to do.
I don't know how committed the players are either, because I think that's a big thing too. Like,
exactly.
Like if one person on the team goes, "Hey, we should get more money," but the 52 other guys are like, "No," right? Like then it's not going to go anywhere. Like you need a
or the coach isn't going to back you up, or the owner, like obviously. The ownership isn't going to back you up or anything like that. So like you need support. You need support within especially from the player, like from the NFL Players Association, and you're going to need help from your teammates, the president, the Morris Smith, and you're going to need help from all that, because you're not going to get anything. Like if any of Goodell's behavior prior, like leading up to this, we should tell you that like he's not going to give an inch. He's not going to give a damn about you. Mm-hmm. He's going to chew you up and spit you out. As simple as that. And like he's shown that time and time again, and he's shown he doesn't care. He doesn't care about due process or anything like that. So there's no use in being like, oh well, we want it, but we don't want to work for it. Like you're going to have to work for it, or you're not going to get it. As simple as that. Because you're going to need to sacrifice time. You're going to need to sacrifice money. Like I said, you're going to have to legitimately miss games.
Yeah, and enough to make an impact too.
Exactly. Like, if you want to miss a full season, I'm not recommending you miss a full season or anything like that. But I'm just saying, I would move towards move towards missing a good chunk of the season. They'll let people know that you're serious. Like they missed it. They had their lockout, and then they were still back on time for training camp.
Yeah, I remember that.
So it was weird. It was
they were talking about the lockout and all this and all that, and Drew Brees holding the players only practices and all that stuff, and then I was like, but it's business as usual.
Right,
exactly. As soon as preseason started, it was like, oh, all right.
Right. Oh, okay. Well, preseason games are back on. Hall of Fame games back on. All right, cool. We're playing. They gave in too easily, and they didn't really get a whole lot, and now they're seeing what happens when you actually do sit back and you do take the time and you do negotiate and believe in yourself, and you see the fruits of the labor that the NBA got. So like I said, I mean Ty Gurley's fine that you feel like you want to be paid that much, but at the same time, the next time the CBA comes around, you guys need to negotiate and not give in and say hey, this is what we believe we're worth. The NBA is getting paid this much. We want to be paid this much. baseball's getting paid this much, we want to get paid this much, and negotiate it out. And like I said, if they're not willing to budge on it, they're gonna budge at some point. Once they realize that their teams aren't playing, that their players aren't playing, that they're not receiving the revenue from like having football games every Sunday, which is a huge grossing sport. Good luck. I mean, like I said, it's like once they realize, I know you love the game and everything like that, and you want to play, but if you really want to be paid what you owe, be set up for a life after football, do it. Work for it. Simple as that.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah, that's it. All right. So, into our week/month in review. We recorded Squadcast episodes and other things. I can't remember the last time we did the SportsSqwad. It was like 3 weeks ago, maybe, possibly longer. Anyway, from recording. Anyway, so we're gonna just cover everything. Like I said at the beginning, we're just gonna skip the main topic and get right into it. So I guess we'll start with the NBA draft / free agency. I'm a little upset LeBron didn't choose Philly. He chose LA. It didn't seem like he was choosing LA. A lot of people were saying that he wouldn't go there because one, it's a Western Conference, and and two, like they're not good enough or they're too young still and all that. So that was a bit of a shock. I was hoping Philly would pull it out. Just be like, hey, we were a playoff team last year. We made it to the second round. Yeah,
you can stay in the Eastern Conference. Like you have a really good young core, so you don't need to
prove themselves this past year.
Yeah. You don't need to like trade for an outside opponent, like an outside player. Like you already have Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid. Like, you throw LeBron in that mix, like that's 3 All-Stars basically. You know, like Ben Simmons could have been an All-Star last year. I think he should have been.
He was Rookie of the Year.
Yeah. So I just think I was a little bit surprised that he did choose LA just because like they have a young core and it's not nearly as established as Philadelphia is. In the Lakers. Like I said, I mean Lonzo, like you don't really know exactly what you have in Lonzo. I mean he's a tall point guard who can get a triple-double. He doesn't have great athleticism. I know you don't like when people say great athleticism because they're all athletes since they're on this upper tier.
Yeah, you play in the NBA.
Yeah.
You're athletic.
So he's not particularly agile or fast. You have Brandon Ingram, who a lot of people were like tabbing him as like another Kevin Durant, but like he just hasn't developed in that kind of way. He's not nearly become that kind of a scorer. Like he's long enough. It's just like at least KD filled out a little bit more. Like he was scrawny. He still is.
He was a real scrawny back in the day.
But he filled out some. Brandon Ingram just hasn't filled out any. I mean, Julius Randle, who you let go to clear money up. I feel like you have other people over there, but so yeah, I mean, Kyle Kuzma, who like really did a good job last year. So like they have some pieces, but they don't have like a great roster right now. Yeah. And then the NBA draft, I always feel is kind of like meh. Like,
yeah, I only said it because it was a thing that happened.
And with the NBA draft, I think it's tough because it's tough to build up that much popularity for the NBA draft. For one, it only being 2 rounds, and
it's only 2 rounds.
Yeah, it's only 2 rounds. Yeah, and 2, it's so soon after the season. Like if you look at what the NFL does. Like the NFL gets you excited and talking about the NFL draft from basically January when like most of the teams are eliminated and the playoffs are starting. And, like you're like, oh, it's draft season if your team's not in the playoffs. You know, like basically from January or February until May when it happens. So like you have like 3 or 4 months to be legitimately excited about the NBA, like the NFL draft. Like, and then you have a lot of different stuff in between, whether it's like the combine, like the Senior Bowl, different things like that. I mean, and it's 7 rounds too, and they spread it across 3 days, so it gets you excited. Like they give you a little bit of taste each and every single day, so you get a little bit more. So I mean, it's just not like the NBA draft is not as exciting, and then like usually it's a lot of players you don't really know too much about, like outside of the lottery, you don't really know too much of players. Yeah, and it's like weird because like a lot of the players that are like that you think are really good, like that you've heard about, like don't really end up like doing don't really end up doing a whole lot. So it's like it's weird.
Yeah, and it's like like you were saying, I kind of know. I don't even know who was drafted this year, but like previous years, it was just like,
right.
Oh, I know like the top 5,
and it's tough because
that's it. Like,
it's tough because it's like a different climate every single year for the draft because they're all one and done players. So it's just like you have like 1 year to get accustomed to this player, and then they head off to the league.
Yeah,
if they're good, and it's just like what you don't have it's incredibly rare. I mean, like DeAndre Ayton was the first pick in the draft this year out of Arizona. He went to Phoenix.
Oh.
Phoenix drafted him, so he didn't move too far.
Yeah.
So like I mean, he was like big time center. Like there was a lot of controversy around him because he was like there was like a lot of like rumors and stuff like that. They were going on about like him receiving money to play at the University of Arizona.
Well.
And then, like, they also lost in the first round to Buffalo in the tournament.
Yeah.
And it's, like, weird because
that shouldn't have an effect on a player's stock, though.
No, I mean, it obviously hasn't since the two other first overall picks before him didn't even...
Yeah. Who's Ben Simmons was one, right?
Ben Simmons and Markelle Fultz didn't even make the tournament.
Oh, Fultz was number 1.
Yeah, because the Phillies are thinking baseball because the 76ers traded up. They had a third pick and they traded up to get him, which I think they should have stayed and drafted Jason Tatum. But that's just me. He turned out to be really good at the end of the season too, so that's upsetting.
Yeah,
but yeah, so I mean, so it's just like you don't have as much excitement about the NBA draft, and it's weird because like free agency is after the NBA draft, whereas NFL like free agency is before the draft. So like a lot of teams can fill a lot of their needs before the NFL draft, and then they can just like draft. Sometimes they can like try and draft best player available and things like that. Whereas the NBA is like they draft.
And then like a week later or 2 weeks later?
Yeah, like a week or two later.
Yeah.
Or a week and a half or something like that later. It's like
opening a free agency is July 1st, right?
Yes,
so, like,
yeah.
And the draft is always like end of July. I mean, it's tough because it's a long season, you take up like 9 months. So
right,
like,
exactly.
You can't really have that.
Like there's like really no off season. Like it's funny because you have the NBA season from roughly about the end of October until June, and then you have the NBA draft 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
The award show, which is really weird, I don't like the way they did the awards. They do the award show now. It's like the award show is like 3 weeks after the season when everybody already forgot. Like people are like, oh, James Harden was supposed to win MVP because he did really good during the regular season, but we completely forgot about that. Like announce it during the playoffs. As simple as that.
I would even like either announce it before the playoffs or just all the votes are before the playoffs. Then you announce it maybe. Like, I think baseball does it, like, fairly soon after the season, if I remember.
Yes, they do.
They like, it's...
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, it's like 2 or 3 weeks, like, after the season, so it's like...
Yeah. But, like, NBA does it, I feel, so late after the season, and I understand it's just trying to extend the season, but it's already such a long season. Like I said, by the time that the finals wrap up, it's like midway through June.
Yeah.
And then you have the NBA draft 2 weeks... 2 weeks after that, then you have free agency, which is a big deal, and then you have NBA Summer League, and then next thing you know, like the season's begun.
Yeah, then you're
it begins. Yeah. It's July now, August, September. So you have 3 months until the season begins. And it's just like not a lot of time. Like you have 82 game season. That's just it's crazy to me. But like obviously, when it comes to free agency, like obviously LeBron going anywhere is going to make a lot of noise. It's just like weird to be in the position that Cleveland is now.
Yeah, because
having to rely on now Kevin Love being your best player now.
Yeah,
that's a weird position.
Good luck.
Or like the beginning, like the end of last year, he was your third best player behind Kyrie and LeBron, and then obviously they traded Kyrie, and then LeBron left. Yeah. So and then the Warriors shaking everything up and
just signing everyone,
adding a fifth All-Star. Yeah. And here's the thing, I got really upset. This is another grievance I had. I got really upset with how everybody was like reacting when they signed DeMarcus Cousins.
Yeah.
Okay, I get it. He's an all-star. Like he averaged 27 and 10 last year before he got injured. But you also have to take into account he's 6'11" and about 280 pounds, and he just tore his Achilles. That is not an easy injury to come back from in any sport, especially basketball, and especially at that size.
It's the Ryan Howard effect.
Yeah,
you're like it's minimum 12 months, right, to recover,
something like that. Yeah.
So
I mean, it's not an easy one to come back from at all. That, I mean, okay, fine. He's got a crazy personality. So does Draymond. Like, fine. I mean, like, people like, oh, he's got a bad personality and everything like that. Like, and like that. Like anything happens, he's gonna well, they're gonna be winning. Like, he's not he's never been on a winning team before. Like look at him in Sacramento. Like, look at him in Sacramento. I'd be mad too if I was always losing. If I was always in last place in the Western Conference year in and year out, and then the management did nothing around me to provide any kind of help, I'd be mad too. I would have an issue. So there's that. There's like people like talking about like, oh, the Warriors ruined the NBA. I'm like, no, they didn't. Like, you know who ruined the NBA? The Suns. The Suns have been bad, haven't been able to get any new players or any talent around that organization since Steve Nash left. You know who wasn't going to blame? The Orlando Magic. The Orlando Magic have been bad since Shaquille O'Neal left, since Dwight Howard left. I mean, like they're a bad team. Like you can't be mad. And we've talked about this on this show a lot, where we talked about they built their team for the most part. Like, they've added some, like, obviously they added Kevin Durant, they just added DeMarcus Cousins, but like they drafted Draymond Green late in the draft. Like, he was a second round pick, and like, you're a second round pick, you're not expected to make the team usually. Like, you're expected to be on like the G League for a while, like. Yeah, and at the time it was D League. Whatever. Steph Curry, he was the 7th pick in the draft. Like, he wasn't he injured? Yeah, early in his career too. Exactly. Because I remember when he became like popular, I was like, hasn't he been on the team for like 3 or 4 years? Exactly. Like, before he actually hit it. That's the thing. Like, that was the thing. That was the reason why they were able to sign all these people, was because of that injury. When he got injured, and he was time for his extension, they didn't have to pay him as much because he was injured a lot, and like, he was producing a whole lot. So he got a really low contract, and then that was why they were able to then sign a lot of other people and kind of start the ball rolling on the dynasty. Klay Thompson, I think, was the 11th pick in the draft. So it's not like they just, on top of that, it's not like they just went out and had the number 1 pick in the draft every single year. Like, they had later picks. And 7th pick, the 11th pick. I think they got Draymond with the 38th pick. So like, it's not like they were just first pick in the draft. They had to build their team, and it took a long time. Like, so like, you can't say that they ruined the NBA. Like, the teams that have been consistently bad for a decade plus, they're the ones that are ruining the NBA because they're not making themselves competitive. They're not making themselves it's a good team to like actually go up against this quote unquote juggernaut of a team. Like, this is just a dynasty. This is just our most recent dynasty. Yeah. People are like, it's bad for the NBA. I'm like, was Boston winning all those championships back with Bill Russell bad for the NBA? No, I'm pretty sure people were excited to see Boston in the finals all the time. Like, they won 11 championships with Bill Russell. Like, this is like, they've dominated. There's only 2 teams in the NBA that have double-digit championship wins, and that's Boston and LA, and the Lakers. Yeah, Lakers. Yeah, and it's been nobody else. So you've had 2 teams that have been dominant for almost the entirety of the NBA, and then now all of a sudden, like, oh, a team that hadn't won a championship since the 70s is just now like bad for basketball, and like, they're just this perennial powerhouse. And like, no, it's like the teams that have been consistently bad. Like, no one was crying when the Warriors were bottom of the league year in and year out, and the Lakers were winning championships with Kobe Bryant and Shaquille O'Neal. Nobody was complaining about that. I mean, they weren't. I mean, the Warriors weren't that bad back then because they had like Chris Webber, and they had Chris Webber and Play and people like that. So they're actually pretty decent. But like, I mean, it's just like, I would be curious to see. I think is it down to 4 teams in the NFL have never made a Super Bowl. I think so. I think it's 4 teams. I'd be curious to see how many teams never made a finals in the NBA. Yeah, because I feel like it's like half the league. Right, like, exactly. It has, or even like the team. Yeah, maybe teams made it like once or twice compared to teams that made it. You know, how many times have the Lakers made the finals? Like, right, exactly. Like, it's absurd. Like, so it's just.
it's just kind of the way the league is, like you were saying. Like, I'm not a fan of it, but, like, I'm not going to start complaining now.
Yeah, exactly.
I've never been a fan of it. But...
Like, if that's the case, like, you should have complained when they added Kevin Durant. Like, that was when you complained. Because, like, yeah, that's kind of unfair. Like, they just went 7-3-9. They lost in championship in Game 7. And they just added this all-world player, the second best player in the world.
I mean, that's kind of like, he was a free agent, and they worked the deal, right? And
yeah, exactly.
They didn't do anything wrong.
No, and like I said, like, if you're a team in this high of a league, you want to stay competitive. Like, you want to try and win. Like, that's like you're not just gonna sit there and be like, oh well, looks like the Oklahoma City Thunder like re-signed Paul George. It looks like the Lakers got LeBron James, and the Rockets are like trying to add pieces to make themselves better. Like, I think we should be good just staying here. We won the championship. Yeah. Like, complacency kills. Like, there's no need to be like, oh no, I'm gonna sit here and like watch everybody else around me get better while I don't get better at all. That makes no sense to me. It's asinine.
It's just the NBA. But I mean, that's. And if I'm a player, I think we touched on it a little bit, so I won't say too much on it. But like, if I'm Kevin Durant and I'm on the Thunder, and a core is developed with Ibaka and Westbrook and Harden, and nothing happens in those 3 to 4 years, however long it was they're together, I'm gonna be like, all right, guys, I'm going to go to the team and just
win.
Set a new record for wins.
Yeah,
so like, like, I'm not gonna like, like, no, I'm gonna try to get that ring. So I guess we could move on to MLB. All-Star game is happening.
That's happening in DC.
By the time this is out, due to scheduling, the All-Star game will have already happened. So congrats to the NL or NL.
Did you say NL or NL?
I think I said AL. I don't know. It sounds AN. Congrats to that team. I have a slight grievance against the All-Star game. Is that so they restructured the schedule so you have Wednesday and Thursday off for the All-Star game. So any pitcher who pitches on Sunday or starts on Sunday can't pitch in the All-Star game. It's like a rule. That's been a rule for a little while.
Yeah.
But I'm like, okay, so if I'm Aaron Nola, who just got to his first All-Star game, I think he just pitched today, so it's no big deal. But if I'm pitching Sunday, I'm going to pitch maybe one inning on Tuesday. I'm going to have Wednesday, Thursday off, and I'm not going to pitch again until the following, like, Tuesday or Wednesday.
Right.
Because it's five more people need to go in front of me.
Right.
I'm not going to just start again on Saturday. And they're like, oh, well, like, it's too much in a short amount of time. Sorry, you can't throw 30 extra pitches in the All-Star game. You just got voted into. Like, like, why is this a thing? I was having this conversation with my dad, and I was just like...
That makes no sense.
Yeah, I was like, they're going to... Like, Pedro Martinez has the best All-Star starting pitcher performance ever. Pitched 2 innings. like, obviously they're going to switch out the pitcher, like, every inning.
It's an All-Star game after all, like...
Yeah, so it's like, why is this a rule? And you added the extra day off. Now they have Thursday off. It used to be they just went back right away Thursday, but it's like why can't they pitch? Like, and I think that's happening with Max Scherzer. I think he pitches tomorrow. Like, he's on DC. He's a dominant pitcher.
Right.
Like, start him. Have him pitch 1 inning in his home.
Because like, you're not gonna have him exactly. Yeah. You're not gonna have him not pitch like for an actual real life game, which they would need. They need. Because every game is important, and then he's like, no, well, you just pitched on Sunday. I don't think you can.
So you had a day off. You can't pitch 3 pitches.
15 pitches.
You won't pitch again for another week.
Yeah.
Like, sorry. Like,
because it would be too much.
Yeah.
Like, no.
And it's usually like when their bullpen session is anyway. It's usually the second or third day that they have off. Yeah. So they'd be pitching anyway. Like, it just, anyway. But yeah, Aaron Nola got in. He's the only Phillies player.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, Reese was hurt a lot.
Yeah, he did.
He missed a lot of time.
And he kind of cooled down a little bit.
Yeah.
He broke his jaw. He's in the home run derby, though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's exciting. I didn't know who all was in the home run derby.
I want to try to him and Harper and Freddie Freeman. It's a lot of at least guys. I forget the exact lineup, though. I think it's only like 8 people anyway.
Research department. Yeah, I think it's usually only
research department.
Research department.
That's me. I mean, it sucks. I'll be busy, but I'll try to sneak watch it. I'll just pull up Hulu on my phone. Yeah, I think, what else we got? Oh, Chase Utley retired. Or is retiring.
He is retiring, yeah.
Yeah, that was bad. There was a good debate on Twitter.
Jesus Aguilar versus Reese Hoskins. Alex Bregman versus Kyle Schwarber. Bryce Harper versus Freddie Freeman. Max Muncy versus Javier Baez.
Interesting. Max Muncy is like a rookie, I think. Yeah. Kyle Schwarber's in it. And Baez, yeah. I didn't know Schwarber was in it.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I didn't know Baez was in it. I didn't know he was like known as like a really good power hitter.
But yeah, there was a good debate if Chase Utley is a Hall of Famer. So I think he's.
I think you would know that the answer to that question a little bit better than I would.
Yeah, I mean, I think
followed
he
him
is.
A lot. He played for the Phillies for a while, didn't he?
The longest time, yeah.
He's with LA now. Right?
Yeah, he's still in the Dodgers. He signed in a year, I think. At the end of last year, he signed like a year extension or an option or something.
He played with the Nationals for a little bit. No, who am I thinking that played for the Nationals?
Jason Worth.
That's it.
God. Jason Worth was. This is my gripe with Jason Worth. He was a platoon player in 2008 when they won the World Series.
Yeah.
It was him and Jeff Jenkins literally splitting left field, like depending on the pitcher matchups.
Right.
And he wasn't like great.
Right.
He hit like 20 home runs and it could steal and like had a great arm. Don't get me wrong. But then he was in free agency, or I think it might have been 2009, free agency, and he's like, no, I deserve a lot more money. And they're like, no, because you split time with this guy.
Right.
You know, like we're
you...
not going to pay you $125 million. And DC was like, we'll do that.
Yeah.
And he's like, people kind of forgot about him. Like he was not worth $125 million over 5 years.
No.
But that's the deal he got, and he hasn't made it past the first round of the playoffs since.
The rest of the Nationals.
Yeah. But yeah.
No, I think Strasburg up too.
I think he's still, like, good.
Is he still with the
good.
Nationals?
Yeah. Good, not great.
Didn't he have Tommy John surgery?
I think he had, like, 2 Tommy John surgeries.
Yeah.
I think he had it his first season, and then he had, maybe, like, his third season, he had to open again. Because my brother was pitching in Philly, and my brother was at that game, and during the bullpen session, it happened, like, when he was warming up.
Oh, really?
And my brother was like, yeah, you could tell immediately. Like, he threw it, and his arm just went limp. That's terrifying. Yeah, but that's what you get when you throw 100 miles per hour, like, all the time.
Right, exactly.
Like, there are pitchers that throw 100 miles per hour, but they, like, work their way through the game to get there. Like, they don't throw 100 miles per hour over 9 innings.
Jump, like,
like
that's
even,
what Verlander does.
Like, he starts, like, low 90s.
Yeah.
And, so, but yeah. Oh, Strasburg. Also, well, I think Chase Utley is a Hall of Famer. I mean, I think he's, like, right on that line.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if he's first ballot. It depends on who else is on the ballot with him.
I feel like it's just so tough to get voted in.
Yeah. That's another thing, too. Like, writers only have 10 choices. And I'm like, well, like, baseball, there's a lot of players. Like,
right.
I'm not saying everybody's eligible, and I still think it should be, like, 75% of people. But if you limit it to 10, then, people are going to be left off automatically. Like, that's just the way the system's going to work. But, yeah, I think he is. I mean, he's like a career 300 hitter, so, like, not, like, amazing, but, like...
not the worst.
Yeah, and he was pretty good consistently. He was power hitting second baseman. Like,
right.
His first his first hit as a Philly was a grand slam.
Nice.
In the vet. Yeah, so, that was, And then, Manny Machado. Apparently, the Phillies are interested. They are.
Join the other 2019 in the league.
Well, yeah, but apparently they made an offer or something earlier today. As of recording it, Manny could get traded by the time this is released. Yeah. But them and the Yankees and I think one other team is actually
Dodgers.
Like in serious contention for them.
Yeah, the Dodgers or Chicago. Yeah, the Cubs, not the White Sox.
Right.
Yeah, why'd you go from one losing team to another losing team?
Yeah. Well, if you get traded, you can't.
Yeah.
Unless you have the no trade clause, you can't really decide. Yeah.
But I don't know where he goes. All I know is they need to get a lot of prospects for him.
Yeah.
And they need to find a way to package any kind of other talented players to go along with him. Whether it's Zach Britton, no, I don't know of any other talented players that they have. I mean, Adam Jones, but like he's not really. He's lost a step. Like,
yeah,
he's advanced in age. As much as I love him, like
he's still
all right, but he's not great now. So I think he's going after this year, whether they trade him or he signs somewhere else.
Yeah,
I think if you could find a way to get rid of Scope, that would be dope.
I mean, he's hitting like worse than Chris Davis this year. Like that's a matter of like who's gonna take him now. Like. Unless you just say, like, hey, like, give us your top 5 prospects for Manny, but we also want to get rid of Scope. Like, like take him off our hands, like, type of deal.
Top 5 prospects, and we'll give you Manny and Zach Britton.
I think
they just need an overall rebuild, but the problem is, like, fine. Like, they were bad for a long time. They rebuilt. They didn't get to the championship, and then they just stopped investing money into players. Yeah. So you can be mad, like you can be mad all you want. They're like, or they invest a lot of their money into the wrong players. Like they could have signed Nelson Cruz to like the big time extension and gave him the money as opposed to giving it to Chris Davis. Yeah, that was you're a better team right now if you give that money to Nelson Cruz instead of Chris Davis or Mark Trumbo.
Yeah, Chris Davis was another he can hit home runs, but he can't really do anything else.
No, exactly. Like it's easy to be a first baseman when you have Manny Machado rifling it over to you, like on a rope in a perfect spot. All you gotta do is keep your glove here and close it when the ball gets there. So,
it'll be interesting to see not only where he goes this season.
Because it's the end of the month, right? It's July 31st.
July 31st, 4 p.m. Eastern time. Yep.
They're gonna move him. I mean, they have no choice but to move him.
Yeah, they have to. But I'm curious to see if
you can't lose a player like that in free agency because they're not gonna resign him. They're not gonna resign him because if they were, they would try to resign him these last 3. We're trying to sign him to an extension these last 3 years. But I mean, so it's very clear they're not going to extend him, which is fine. But you need to actually get rid of him and find a whole boatload of prospects to get back and a whole lot of pitching. I don't care. A lot of pitching. I think Buck should go at the end of the year. I don't have anything against Buck.
His contract is up, right?
Yeah, I like him as a manager. It's just he's not been put in a good position to actually win games.
Yeah.
So
well, I'm curious to see if like a Cliff Lee situation happens where he gets traded to a team for half a year and then signs like a big deal with somewhere else. You know, Cliff Lee was on the Rangers for he was also on the Mariners for like half a year, and then he got signed and traded.
But unless the only way I can see that happening is if he gets traded to like in Arizona. I feel, but like
Arizona might be able to keep him though.
Yeah, I feel, but I think if they trade him to a contender, if they trade him to New York or they trade him to Chicago or they trade him to an LA. Even like a young team that's on the rise in Philly, I think he should sign an extension and stay with them. Yeah,
like if hypothetically Philly signs him, and even if they get bounced in the first round, like better than they were last year.
No, exactly.
And you just keep up. You have Jake Arrieta for 2 more years. You have Aaron Noah for the next hopefully like 15 or 20.
Yeah, Rhys Hoskins.
Yeah, Rhys Hoskins is good. Odubel's heating up, so it's like. But if he gets traded to like L.A. and LA maybe makes a run once they get him, the Dodgers, but then they're like, hey, we can't afford you. Like, does he just sign with the Yankees for $400 million?
Yeah, since they had enough money to pay God himself. So it's just, like I said, they need to trade him, but I don't know when it's going to happen. It's going to happen. I know it's going to happen. It will happen. Yeah, it'll happen.
It might happen at 3:59 on the 31st.
Right, but it's going to happen regardless. I think they find a way to trade him. They're going to trade him on the trade deadline.
Yeah.
So I'm just excited to see what they get back for him and excited to see
if it leads anywhere.
Yeah, exactly. If it leads to a rebuild the way that the Astros rebuilt.
And then, we got 2 more things on our itinerary, but the NFL with Ben McAdoo, as we were talking about in our pre-deduction meeting. The fact that he thinks the Giants will win the division next year. like even Colin Cowherd was like the Eagles are going to win the division next year.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the Giants will be better with Zeke healthy and not suspended.
Yeah. He wasn't unhealthy. He was just suspended.
That's what I meant. If that can
the only thing I agreed with him agreed on him with was Washington is still Washington. That's the only thing I agree
Well,
on.
yeah, that too.
But
Alex Smith might be September. You hear the same talks you do every year. Like, they might be 3-1 at the end of the first 4 games. It'll be like, oh, is Alex Smith the right guy? Is this the year that they make it?
Yeah, it's like Alex Smith is MVP conversations, you know, like, and then, you know, the rest of the season happens.
And then
people remember that he's got a noodle arm.
Yeah, and dump and chase.
Yeah.
Just dump it. And doesn't he, was it last year or like 2 years ago, he had like the shortest distance of passes, like, in the air?
I think that was 2 years ago.
2 years ago, it was like,
because last year he actually
like 10 yards per pass or something like that.
Yeah, because like last year he actually, like, I mean, you kind of have to with the players that he had. I mean, with the exception of Kareem Hunt, like, but like when you have a player like Tyreek Hill and like Travis Kelce, like they actually like extend the field like vertically, not horizontally. So like those are like so you air it out a little bit more when that happens.
Yeah, but just like Ben McAdoo just needs to shut up. Like you're not in a position to make these claims.
You got fired. Like like.
For the first time in like 30 years, too, the Giants let go of a coach in the season. Like
that's historically bad. Like,
and you benched Eli and then brought him back the next game, so you like broke that record. Right. That for no reason, or the consecutive streak for no reason, basically.
No reason at all, other than just because you were petty and you felt like it. Yeah. You know, and like your offense woefully underperforms, and that's kind of your specialty. Like you were the team's offensive coordinator, like before they promoted you to head coach. Yeah. So like it's kind of like not a good sign when your offense isn't performing and you're the offensive coordinator. So I mean, but you know that's just me. Call me crazy.
Yeah. Right.
But like, he just doesn't make any sense. Like I said, what did the Giants do to say, other than signing Saquon Barkley, like other than drafting Saquon Barkley and Odell coming back, what do they do to put
Odell isn't that? He's so overrated.
I agree.
Agree like, Odell won't be back. Okay, he's still like immature, and he's still
just one player. Great. Like I would give it to him. Like, he's a really good wide receiver. I wouldn't put him as the best. I wouldn't put him as the third best. I'd put him in the top 5. But, yeah, I'd probably put him in the top 5.
I would say maybe top 10. But I'm going off the top of my head here. Yeah. I gotta, like, if I saw every receiver, maybe he'd jump up to top 5.
But
it's just like, okay, like, you still have Eli. You still have that offensive line. You still have... Like, who's on their defense? Like,
I mean, it's an aging defense. It's not a young defense. I mean, Olivier Vernon is like, he had that 1 year when he first got signed where he was really good, and then he kind of fizzled out after that. They just traded away Jason Pierre-Paul, who's been on a decline. They traded him to Tampa Bay before the draft. So you don't have that anymore. Your linebacker crew isn't that great. You have a lot of concerns within your secondary because I mean, you had Eli Apple, who had a lot of problems with like other players on the field, like on your team last year. You have Janoris Jenkins, who's going through the whole thing with his brother right now, who like he's like they found a dead body in his house. That was a few weeks ago. Well, but he wasn't there for it. He wasn't like he had no knowledge of the dead body prior to like
the cops saying
the cops telling you like, hey, there's a dead body in your house. So like the
question in his house, like his brothers?
In his house, but his brother was staying with him.
Oh, well.
Yeah, I don't think they have Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie anymore.
I think you did. Was he on the team last year?
No, he was on the team last year.
Oh, yeah.
So I mean, you still have Landon Collins. Landon Collins is good, but like you said, like so the defense is still not in a great position.
And you're facing Carson and Dak twice a year.
Yeah.
You're facing
Alex Smith is a bad quarterback.
Yeah, twice a year. Can't like
who's like the ultimate game manager. I know that's like kind of like a like a bad thing.
Yeah, it's kind of like a backhanded compliment.
Yeah, exactly. But he is.
He knows the game.
He knows the game.
And he knows how to play.
He can win. He won't be the reason why you lose, but he also really won't be the reason why you win.
Yeah.
You know,
like he's maybe middle of the pack. If I was,
because
if they're like, hey, pick a quarterback with 2 minutes left, I'd be like, do I have to have him?
Yeah, exactly. Like, is it like a backup?
Yeah, like,
he's gonna throw the ball down the field.
Yeah,
But
I mean, he doesn't have Andy Reid behind him, not misusing the timeouts.
Yeah,
which is what Andy Reid has done his entire life.
At the end of the day, like I said, at the end of the day, Eli is still Eli. Their offensive line isn't that great. They signed Nate Solder from the Patriots, who wasn't. He's an all right left tackle, but he's not like a great left tackle. He's not. He's
also on the Patriots, who make everybody look good.
Right, exactly. So they signed him to a big contract, and they drafted Will Hernandez in the second round, who I actually like. I think he could actually be really good as a starting left guard. But they lost their starting center, they lost their starting right guard, they lost, and they now moved the league's worst left tackle over to the right side, and hopefully that'll make him better. No, Eric Flowers is trash, and he will be trash, and he will continue to be trash. So people are expecting expecting the same kind of situation that Zeke had when he came into his rookie year. I'm like, no, it's not the same at all.
No,
at that time, the Cowboys had the best offensive line in the league.
Yeah, and that was
three all pros.
You couldn't argue against it either.
No, exactly. Now you can definitely argue against it, but it's still a really good offensive line. I would probably say the Eagles' offensive line is better though. Not lying at all. That's 100% accurate. But yeah, it just no. No, the Giants you have Saquon, which I think there's going to be a lot of hype, and I got to see it to believe it. On the next level, until I see him perform like he did on the next level, people are just going to keep on showing videos of him powerlifting 225 pounds while walking up a hill and stuff like that. I'm like, I don't think okay. That's all fine and dandy. That's cool. But, okay, are talking about, how massive his legs are. All right, dope. He's got big legs. A lot of people have big legs.
He's an NFL running back.
He's, I want to see that performance on an NFL football field.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that.
I want to see it
because right now, it's just...
I don't want to see it over 4 games.
Exactly.
I want to see it 12 to 16 games.
Because I guarantee you see him starting carrying the ball over in preseason. He breaks his first 10-yard run, a long run. You're like, I'm like, preseason, first of all.
Yeah.
Second of all, I'm like, you're going against second and third string defense.
Yeah.
So
that's the whole point of that last preseason game is to people are trying to make the team.
Right, exactly.
So
I just gotta wait to see it, but I don't see the hype. Like I said, Odell's still Odell. They don't have. He's
still immature.
I don't really know another wide receiver that they have that's not Odell.
Yeah, who is their second person?
They drafted a kid last year, Evan Ingram from Ole Miss. He's a tight end technically, but he's a really good, a tweener tight end. He's not gonna block. He's like a Jimmy Graham tight end kinda. He's just not as big as Jimmy Graham. So.
I almost forgot DeMarco Murray retired.
Yes, he did.
At 30.
Yeah, it's still a surprise to me. Running backs, 30.
Yeah, but also, tough. I feel like the Cowboys made him look better than he was.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
When he was on the Cowboys, they're like, oh.
Yeah. That offensive line coupled with, the really good years. Yeah. That was, still with the really good years of Des Bryant. Yeah. Tony Romo was still, was performing at a high level back then, too.
Yeah, it was a well-balanced team.
Yeah, it was a very well-balanced team. Just didn't have the defense.
Yeah, and then the Eagles,
And he had a lot of fumbling issues, too.
Yeah.
The reason why there even needed to be, we even needed to rely on Des Bryant for that catch in the Green Bay Packers playoff game was because DeMarco Murray fumbled the ball, while he was, he had a wide-open seam to, just burst through and get, I'm not saying it would have been a touchdown, but there's a good chance it would have been. But they stripped him. He fumbled because he always held the ball out here. So he stripped him, fumbled, and Packers got the ball back. And, they scored, went down and scored. And then, that's how we got in the position that we were in.
It's one of those minor plays.
Yeah.
Everybody
always forgets about those smaller plays because it's something big and controversial that happened later on. And,
well, that's actually a subject I have on the list of is smaller plays that led to the bigger plays.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and then he was on the Eagles for 1 year.
1 year, yeah. They traded they signed him. They signed him to a big contract.
He was a free agent, yeah.
Then they traded him after 1 year. Because the Cowboys didn't want to sign him to all that money, and I understand.
But yeah, I think the Cowboys knew what he was.
Yeah,
most people
as much as I like DeMarco Murray, I loved him when he played for the Cowboys, but
realistically, you gotta take that step back from the fan point of view,
right? And you got to realize, and that's what I think a lot of people have an issue with is taking a step back from the fandom to like then realize like, oh, like a lot of like I saw a lot of that when the Cowboys cut Des Bryant. I'm like, okay, yeah, like I'm a fan of Des Bryant. Like I enjoy Des Bryant and like what he did for the Cowboys like a few years back. But you got to realize, I mean, like he hasn't done anything for the past 3 years, other than eat a lot of money and like cause a lot of drama.
Yeah, that's what one of my friends back home is a big Cowboys fan, and she always hears about Des, and I'm like, yeah. But she's one of those fans, like, you say one bad thing about the team, they just automatically fight back. And I'm just like, really? Like, you can't look objectively?
Yeah. Like I said, I mean, and I think that's why we get along so well. It's like, opposite fans, because, like, I can be objective and I can be realistic about my team and my expectations for my team, you know? Yeah. I
mean, I'm a little biased nowadays just because coming off the Super Bowl win.
Right, exactly.
Like, but there's still, like, thing that, like, yeah. Like, I don't know. But, and then I guess we'll end with the World Cup.
Yeah.
That happened. Croatia. I think they're going to win just because the way 2018 has been in sports. I don't really know anything else going on. All the big people like Messi and Ronaldo.
Yeah, they got
bumped. Germany didn't even make it past
group stage.
Yeah, group stage, defending champs.
Yeah.
So
Brazil made it pretty far though. Brazil made it kind of far though.
Kind of, but
Neymar. I mean, everybody was talking about Neymar and the amount of time he spent on the ground.
Neymar and Suarez from Uruguay, both of them are just.
I love Suarez. Suarez is hysterical because like the last World Cup, the whole controversy was Luis Suarez because he was the one that kept on biting everybody.
Oh yeah,
the biter they called him. That was hysterical.
I think it was 2010 maybe. Then it was like Suarez had an obvious handball.
Yeah,
and then so it was a penalty kick in like the stoppage time I think it was, or maybe overtime.
Okay,
and he like it was a handball in the box, so he's like ejected. And then it was the penalty kick, so he's watching from the sidelines, and the guy misses it. Like, didn't even get blocked, if I remember. Just, like, he missed.
Yeah.
And Suarez is celebrating. I was like, why are you celebrating? Like, you should be, like...
Right.
You should be relieved, not celebrating. yeah. I just can't.
I don't even know what it means, but Ronaldo left...
he left Real Madrid. To go to another team.
Juventus?
Yeah.
Juventus. I have no idea what that means.
I
could not name a single other player that's on that team.
Nope.
But a lot of people just became Juventus' biggest fan. And then you have like young stars now. Like you have Kylian Mbappe from France, who's 19 years old, and he's like, he's like one of like the leading goal scorers in the tournament, which is insane. Oh, and I think they announced another thing to like talk about the next World Cup in Qatar. I don't know why they did this, but it's like the worst possible time you could schedule. You could put the World Cup on because for America, it's not going to be nearly as popular because they put it on like the end of like or like the scheduling, like the weeks, like the weeks.
Yeah, aren't they doing it in like the middle of the winter because of?
They're doing it. Yeah, the end of November and beginning of December.
Yeah.
Which I understand because Qatar is hot as shit.
Well, yeah, it shouldn't be in Qatar anyway.
Yeah.
It's obviously, like, the bribing thing is so obvious in FIFA.
But you're going to be fighting, at that point, you're going to be fighting with NHL, NBA, you have NFL going on, like, fully.
Like, the playoff push in NFL.
Playoff push in the NFL, exactly.
Yeah. Like,
I just don't see...
And if the U.S. doesn't make it again.
Right,
which
exactly.
I hope they do, but, like...
You're not getting a whole lot of patriotism behind that. I mean,
and the time difference. I don't know where Qatar is. Like
somewhere in the Middle East.
Yeah, so I don't know what the time difference is. But if you have games at like 7 a.m. here, you know, like
we already have a hard enough time getting up to watch the football games that are in London at 9 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, you know. And then like the West Coast, like it's so bad. At least we got. Wait, I don't know when 2026 will be in the U.S.
Yes.
So
it's not this up. Yeah, not the next one.
2 more World Cups. Yeah. So at least that's better. But so World Cup. I saw a thing on Reddit. It was people were playing Rocket League, and it was called the Neymar Challenge, and they would roll their car as far as they could. So that's funny. But yeah, so I think that about wraps it up. I don't think anything else on your mind. I know we covered a lot.
No, we did cover a lot.
Yeah, so that was our monthly review, basically. Might not have been. I think it might have been like 3 weeks, but still,
Yeah,
due to things and other things.
Mixed with some other stuff.
Yeah, well, I'll put it all together. Yeah, so that was it. No main topic. Yeah, let us know what you think about what's going on in sports world. This will be released from the time of recording, probably about a week later. So about a week after that MLB All-Star game.
Yeah.
Due to things.
And stuff.
Yep. So yeah, it's been me and Kelvin. Do all the things. Like, share, subscribe. Especially share. Want to grow a little bit. That's the biggest thing. Tell people to listen to us and get our views up to double digits
on a consistent basis.
Yeah. So yeah, do that. All right. Squad out.
Ugh.